Hello, everyone. Thank you, thank you,
Hello.
thank you for being here and welcome to this empowering workshop. I'm Angela Williams. Some people can, you can call me Coach Vibe if you want, but Angela is fine. Tonight, we are diving deep into self-awareness. Holy poo. How about self-awareness? Now, just to kick off a little about me, I am a multifaceted powerhouse. Like I have been through breast cancer. I have 4 kids, all boys. I'm a caregiver to my youngest who has cerebral palsy. I have lost my mom at 28, just when things were kicking off for me in my life and all my children were young. So resilience has been the forefront in my life. These experiences have shaped my passion for helping others build resilience and achieve their goals. All right. So today we are going to focus on one thing: mastering the pillar of self-awareness. Okay. Using the AIR method. By the time we wrap up today, you won't just know a bit about yourself. You'll walk away with real actionable steps to level up or repeat your self-awareness game. We're not just talking, we're doing. So let's get ready to dig deep and rise strong together. Today we're diving into the AIR method program. Okay, focusing on the first level of 4, which is self-awareness. This isn't just about knowing yourself. It's about understanding how you react to the world. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of resilience and lays the foundation of your mental house. Here we go. Now, the first level is, like I said, self-awareness. By mastering self-awareness, you're laying the first brick in building a resilient life, supported by the other pillars of resilience: mindfulness, which is level 2, self-care, which is level 3, positive relationships, which is level 4, and purpose. These are the pillars that hold up your mental house. The AIR method, standing for adapt,
Excuse me.
inner work.
Can
Yes,
are we supposed to see your slides?
you cannot see my sides.
I
I
cannot
am
see
sorry.
your slide.
Okay, thank you so much for letting me know that. I thought they would share it. There you go. All right, now you should be able to see those slides. Thank you. I'll start that. By mastering self-awareness, you're laying the first brick in building a resilient life. Supported by the other pillars, like I was saying, which you see those, level 2 is mindfulness, level 3, self-care, level 3 is positive relationships, and purpose is actually just on its own. That's if you want to go in and delve deeper more into goal setting. The AIR method, standing for adapt, inner work, and repeat, AIR, seamlessly align seamlessly with the resilience formula. And that is the main thing that I came up with. That is how I came up with everything else. So as you see the resilience formula, it's the blueprint for personal growth. It's the core of how I came up with everything. You have self-improvement plus personal development equals your personal growth, which in its whole is resilience for me. Now, I wanted to have an icebreaker just to break the ice and get things kicking. So in one word, if you want to, you can unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat. One word, your current mood. My current mood, I'll start, is grateful. So you guys, if anybody would like to share.
Positive. My mood is positive.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Ella. Love it. Oops, sorry.
I'm happy.
Thank
I'm
you.
super happy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for opening up. If you guys are done with that, it's great
Yeah,
to
I'm
see
grateful.
Me too.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
just grateful for being in the room.
Mhm.
and having you guys here and actually just going through my own little self-awareness and how I'm feeling right now is just awesome. Now that we're all tuned in, let's dive more into the self-awareness. So the first pillar, the pillar is of self-awareness and adapt. So those go hand in hand. I wanted to introduce you guys to the philosophy that guides my workshop, which is to mental health restoration, which is actually my business name. Mental health restoration it's more than a catchy phrase. It's the name of my coaching business, and it's the framework that we'll be using today. Just like a house needs a strong foundation, your mental well-being requires self-awareness. We're here to restore and strengthen that foundation. Self-awareness is your ability to perceive and understand the things that make you who you are as an individual, including your personality, actions, values, beliefs, emotions, feelings, because they are two different things, behaviors, and your thoughts, which I learned that your behaviors are different than your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's hit to the next slide. Hope you guys see that. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of the AIR method and foundation of your mental house. Now, how does this tie into ADAPT? Imagine the attic of your mind where you store your ideas and visions. That's your blueprint. Self-awareness helps you understand this blueprint, allowing you to adapt and renovate your mental house effectively. Think of self-awareness as understanding the blueprint stored in the attic of your mind and adaptability as the renovation process. You can't restore a house effectively without a good plan. I am going to share a story how I adapted, which was just today. I have been trying to secure a plane ticket, and on the 19th, I thought I secured the plane ticket. Everything went wrong, and the anxiety built up. Come yesterday, I thought I could get it resolved. It felt like it imploded into more than what it needed to be. And I was like, okay, I had to really come to and use my own AIR method. I had to adapt. I had to be like, okay, I feel this emotion. I feel this anxiety. What can I do to help this anxiety? Okay, so I can call the company and I can tell them this. I can ask for a hold so that they won't lose my plane ticket. Okay, that worked, but the hold was off today and I still wasn't able to get my plane ticket. So what did I have to do? I had to adapt, calm down, call them again and be like, I need another hold. And that is all it took for my anxiety to come down, for me to actually apply that and do that inner work to be like, you can calm down and get it done and you'll be good. I would like to hear from you guys, and if you can share a moment when adapting your behavior or renovating your mental house led to a better outcome. Maybe you caught yourself getting angry and took a deep breath instead of perhaps you adapted your approach in a work situation. Did you do that and it paid off? Anybody like to share? Yes, ma'am.
So earlier today, I went to go take my pet to the vet and then to the groomer. And when I was coming back, I was having a conversation with my best friend. And tomorrow is my 5-year wedding anniversary, and also my wife's birthday is this weekend. So I was like, oh, I have these shirts that I'm making for us to wear. And she was like, well, why are you wearing shirts? The focus should be on her birthday. And I'm like, no, it shouldn't be on only her birthday. It should also be on our anniversary. And so she was like, well, don't you think that'll take away from, her moment? And I'm like, no, I don't think it'll take away from her moment. I was getting so pissed off and I was getting so rattled. And I'm like, because in my mind, I just want to do it my way. This is what I want to do for us. And I wasn't seeing her perspective. So I had to take a minute and I had to just breathe. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me process what she's saying. And let me process if she actually has a point. I took myself out of the situation, my emotions, I pushed them aside. I evaluated my behavior. I thought about it and how, if I went ahead with my plan, how it would affect everybody. And then I said, you know what? Let me just rework my energy, adapt to this situation, make it work. It's not all about me, it's about us. So if it means that I need to fall back and adapt to the situation the way that it needs to unfold, then I'm going to do just that. So it was definitely a learning lesson for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
It was a teachable moment for me too.
Oh, and isn't every moment teachable though?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've learned that we can learn from every single thing that we've been through. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Remedy. Would anyone else like to share? I would like to hear from everyone if you have a moment.
I'd like to share.
Please. Hello, Nisi Poo.
Hi, Auntie. I had some, so to start off, I had some major medical setbacks this year. And to add to the concept of adaptability, to help me recover, I started to reprioritize how I manage my time. I switched from an hourly planner, which I use if I didn't plan, I would have so much trouble to get through my days. So I switched from an hourly planner to a more open layout where I use to-do lists instead. So each week I plan out the week and then I adapt my to-do list before each day. And as I go through the day, I'll adjust as needed to be more free with my day and not limit myself to an hourly setup. So that's what I got to add to that. So I don't know what you think of that, but
oh no, that was perfect. That was perfect. It's your moment of adapting, and adapting can be anything, to your emotions, to reactions of other people, just to anything. Thank you so much. All right, Miss Taya.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, Boo.
Hey. So me, with adapting, one thing that I am learning to adapt to is how I respond to my children sometimes. You know, they're getting bigger, they got attitude, and before I would just pop off, like I would just pop off, and then my son starts saying, "Well, you don't listen to me. You're not listening to me," and I'm like, okay. Well, if you feel like I'm not listening to you, maybe I need to take a different alternative. So now, before I pop off, even though inside I be bowling sometimes, I've started to, hear his side and then, direct what's going on or the issue or the incident or whatever it is. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of hard for me because, of course, they're kids, and, we're used to disciplining them. But when he kept saying that I wasn't listening to him, it started to trigger something inside of me, like where he feels like he's not heard. So that's when I started, okay, well, maybe that's where communication issues come in when they grow up. And I started thinking about all those things, overthinking. And I was like, all right, so let me try to listen to him and then, go ahead and explain to him why I'm upset and why, he's gonna be disciplined or whatnot. And it's been working. Now sometimes I still want to pop off, but I'm definitely adapting well.
I can so relate to that. In a house full of boys, them growing up, I had the same issue, and it was coming down to my son Curtis, who went to the Air Force. I believe he was a genius. It was in it, and it was always bugged me because it always felt like he was getting smart with me, and I would be ready to boy, I'll knock you out, boy. But he wasn't getting smart. It was just he's so intellectual. That's how he was talking. And I had to start letting the teachers know, you guys have to adapt to how he's talking to you. So what did you say to him first? Because most likely he's not correcting you, but he is correcting you, and he most likely is probably right. And you, whenever they would come at me and tell me what they said, and I would tell them why he said what he said, they would be like, oh, okay, I understand. So I completely understand about kids taking you to that point and you having to calm down and understand they're people, they're communicators too. And 9 out of 10, they can take it. They can take you talking to them like they adults.
Yeah, especially a teenager. One's a teenager. So yeah.
Yup. He know everything, don't he? Mm-hmm.
Who? Yes, yes.
All right. Does anybody else want to share about a moment where they've had to adapt in any situation, work situation?
I'm adapting now.
Having that baby running around, huh?
The baby, the grandchildren, the daughter and husband are still at work, and so normally she's home on today, but she had a meeting. But being here for the last 6 months, I've had to adapt to the way that I parent versus the way that they parent. And sometimes it's been very challenging. But I know that there's things you want to see different than even the way that you parent, the way that I parent. And I know with more information, you can communicate with your children that way. It's just that I didn't have to. My other grandchildren, there wasn't this tug, and maybe because I haven't lived with them for 6 months. So maybe me being in their environment, maybe that was, for them to adapt to me too. So I had to look at that. They're adapting to Nana being here in their space. So it's
And
been,
having somebody
yeah,
else to listen to also, like,
exactly. Exactly. So
that's
it's
so
been up and down. It's
awesome.
been up and down, but it's been a definitely a learning moment for me, uh, being a nana and already, have done this part of my life.
That's so awesome. I wanted to share this right here. Did anybody else want to share? Is Colette still in here? Miss D, would you like to share? I saw that you were on the road. Oops. Okay, so if not, I wanted to share this right here because this is like very important to how we adapt, because the triggers that we face also come in play. Now, if you look on here, there's emotional triggers, social triggers, environmental triggers, and personal triggers. And trust me, knowing these can help you a lot, a lot. So I wanted you to go ahead and check those out. And in your email, you should have saw that I asked everybody to have like a notebook or a note piece of paper and pen so you could jot some things down. So for the next 3 minutes, and I will time us, I want you to jot some thoughts down. I want you to reflect on how you can improve your self-awareness and adaptability, essentially how you can restore your mental health. Think about the triggers that make you react a certain way and how you can adapt your behavior for better outcomes. And I'll leave this list of triggers up if you need that for you to check out. Let me go ahead and pull up the timer. I was just looking at those triggers, and my 22-year-old just went to California to be with his older brother, and he is my social anxiety guy, and it triggered me. Like, I didn't know that would be a trigger. Change could be a trigger also. And it was just like that letting go, and it was that nervousness of will he be okay? Even though now I know he's going to be fine, it was just still triggered me. Like, I don't know, it was emotional, it was social. Like, I just cried. It was so crazy because he's what, 3 or 4 that left, and my oldest is gone. All right, so 3 minutes. Are we ready? And start. So go ahead and jot some things down. Those triggers that make you react a certain way, and how can you adapt your behavior for better outcomes? All right, we have a little under 30 seconds left. Go ahead and take the rest of those seconds to jot down any of the thoughts that you want. And journaling is so important. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to share mine first because I did jot some things down. I was looking at this list, and one of the things that triggers me is peer pressure on the list, feeling the need to conform or fit in. I am such a rebel that I have told myself since like maybe around 2007, 2008 that I will not conform. I do not want to at all unless it helps and it aids me. And one of the things that I put on my list that will help me adapt for better behavior outcomes is that to know that all things are not for everyone, and I do have a choice on what I choose to go with and what I choose to not go with. Anyone else would like to share the insights they've gained about their mental health restoration? No peer pressure. All right. Thank you. Let's go, Miss Drea.
So for me, from the first one, from emotional triggers, I would say rejection, because I have a trigger of neglect. It stems back from childhood trauma, and I definitely I struggle with neglect, and that falls kind of into rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also conflict. I'm not argumentative, but I don't like to argue because, oh Lord, it made me just want to smack somebody if they start arguing with me. So I can't argue. That definitely triggers me in a very bad way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I don't know. I got one from all of them. Was that what we were doing?
Yes. And then how would you go ahead and let me know, how would you adapt? How do you think you can adapt your behavior for better outcomes? Like you said, you just don't try to get in those situations, but what if you were in one of those situations? How would you go ahead and try to adapt?
So I definitely try to keep my cool because I already know how I'm gonna react.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and honestly, I try to avoid arguments at all costs, like because I know how I'm gonna react and I know that it triggers me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really try not to argue. Like I'm always bubbly and positive. People are like, "You can get mad." Oh yeah, I do. But
Yeah.
I try to just turn the energy around into a more positive, happy energy to not even be around people who bring me to that space. Um, so yeah, that's how I avoid, arguments. With the neglect, it's kind of crazy because I get in these rooms where I don't call people, I don't, and I kind of seclude my own self away from people when I start feeling like that and just sit alone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to understand why I'm feeling that way, or I mean, I know why, but to understand in that moment with that situation why it triggered that emotion of rejection or neglect,
Mm-hmm.
and it could go on for months, like
Yes.
honestly, where I just don't like to call people. People like, girl, are you okay? I mean, I'll show up like on social media live and stuff like that, but on the back end, I don't really be talking to people.
Mm-hmm. That ties in with the positive relationships for me too. And one of the ways that I was adapting was self-isolating. And for a while that's good, but for the long run it's not, because you miss those moments where you can learn to effectively communicate. And that's where I am now, is learning to effectively communicate and understand that everybody has their own opinion, everybody has their own perspective. And in these moments that I'm in a disagreement, I don't like to say argument. I think that's just so negative to me. So when anybody says you're arguing, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm actually having a discussion with you. We're having a disagreement. Like, let's change that energy, and we won't feel like it's an argument, because it's a discussion. You'll know when it's an argument, but a discussion and we're discussing facts, that's a discussion. It's not an argument. So it's like, I love that. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to share?
You're welcome.
I'll share.
Thank you, Miss Sonia.
Okay, so I'll start with the emotional triggers first.
Okay.
And mine was number 5. Because I'm a problem solver, I usually have a solution to things. I don't know, I can figure it out most times. It may take some time in the process, but eventually I'll come to a conclusion that's going to be effective that I've figured out. And so when I find myself in situations where I've done almost everything that I can do, and I'm just really frustrated that I still don't have resolution for my issue, I have learned to be not as self-reliant, but to reach out to other people, to kind of help carry the load or give me a fresh perspective or, some tips that can just kind of lead me. Because I think before I would think to myself, well, gosh, this is simple enough. I should be able to figure this out. And then I feel bad because I can't figure it out. And I'm just so over that now. I'm at the point where it's easy for me to pick up the phone, reach out, make a call. Before I used to be like, well, I don't want to bother so-and-so because, they already have their own full plate of issues. But, and I've realized this on the back end that some people actually don't mind you calling, because when I would call them with my concern, they stopped thinking about their concern, and they would say that at the end of the call a lot of times and say, I'm so glad you called me. I can help you with that. And then I don't have to think about, my crazy day today. So that was the emotional. And then for the wait, hold on.
The social?
The social, yes. So I also selected number 3. And then just to kind of piggyback on what Drea said, I'm just not an arguer. There are some people that feel like they have to have a response to everything that people say to them or about them. I've never had that problem. So I know how to walk away because, like you said, Angela, I don't like conflict. At the end of the day, if what the person wants to engage in a negative conversation with me about, it's not going to affect my children or myself or my ability to pay my bills or just my life in general, I'm just like, okay, it's my word. Like, okay, you got this. I don't have a point to prove. And that has really served me well. It took me a minute to get there, but I can walk away in a second and just whisper a prayer for everybody involved. Say, God mend the fence. And then for the environmental trigger, deadlines is my thing. Oh gosh. And so I found that I had to have a more structured day. Because for charting, that's a good example. So for charting, we have to have them submitted in a certain amount of time. And I was finding that I had to take a lot of weekend time to finish things so that when I went to work on Monday, that I wasn't behind going into the work week and then even further behind by Friday. And so I just stopped leaving for lunch. And I would just, work on things while the office is quiet and the other staff members were at lunch. And I found just taking those 5 hours during the week really helped me so that I didn't have to take half of a day on the weekend. So it was either like an hour, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, breaking it up in small bites, or those same 5 hours worth of work had to be done on Saturday. And so that's really, really helped me a lot with the deadlines and feeling pressured and rushed. And then the final one, personal triggers. So I don't want to get sad, but I am still just traumatized by my mom dying. I just have not been able to get over that. And, most days are better than, what they were. She passed in 2011 and it's just, I just have not been able to, get over that. I have kids now. Well, I had kids at the time, but it's like my kids are older. They're all kind of going through different stages in their life. And I just kind of want to be able to call my mom and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I just think I was listening to Miss Ella, just how sweet that is that she has that opportunity to fellowship with her daughter's family and her daughter's kids. And I just miss my mom. The holidays are coming up, and I used to have this really, really bad, well, I still get depressed about it, but I always had seasonal affective disorder. So like when the days were shorter and it was more, dark hours and light, that kind of, affected me a little bit. But then after my mom passed, it's like November is my dad's birthday.
Mhm.
December is Christmas. January is my mom's birthday, and so it was just like those already dark winter months for me, it just got worse. And so now that my kids are older, like my oldest daughter is 27 now, and my youngest daughter is 17. So she's finally at an age where she can go and do things with us, like spa dates and things like that. I've tried to recreate, it's not the same, but I've tried to recreate some of the things that my mom and I would do with my girls.
Hmm.
And that's helped me a lot. So yeah. So those
That
are
did,
my 4.
that was so awesome because I too can relate to not having your mom around, and the person that you shared everything with when you were younger, that
Mhm.
raised you, that knew everything, that talked to you, that showed you this, showed you that, and then you just want to show them everything that's going on in your life now.
Yeah.
And I can relate. She passed in 2007, and it still feels like yesterday to me. Like, I can relate to that. Thank you so much for sharing, Miss Sonia. I do appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, I see Miss Renette has her hand up.
Hey, sorry, I told you I have another meeting, but
I appreciate you for popping in.
you know I was coming.
Yeah.
This is right on this page. So, for the emotional triggers, I'm like with Sonia, the loss of control, uh, because I guess the way my mother raised us, she's very controlling, and so I felt like I needed to control everything. Like, and if it's not controlled and it's not the way it should be that I have in my head, I kind of be like all over the place and losing it and whatever. But now I really just, I'm like, everything is going to work itself out. You'll be fine. It'll be fine. God is on you. And so that really has helped me to move forward and allow people to do whatever they need to do. Not, well, I got to run everything. I know how to delegate, but earlier in my life, that delegation just was not there because I need to make sure that it was done the way it needs to be done. And number 2, the social triggers. I I mean, I don't really have a lot of issues with this at all. If I don't feel like being bothered or I'm in my mood and I want to be isolated, the one thing that I feel is very important that I don't like when like people decide that, oh, I'm just not gonna be bothered, this, that, whatever. Because and they don't have to be like me, but this is me. If I know that I get in a mood or I'm sad about something, I tell whoever, whether it's my husband, my children, people I talk to, I'm going through something right now. So if you don't hear from me, this is why. Let me get through. Like, I don't want a bunch of questions, that kind of stuff. But I feel it important to say something to people so they're not just thinking like, oh, she's acting funny or whatever. I'm gonna say, this is what I got going on, especially I know when my son was sick and I was going through a lot of different changes or whatever. When stuff happens, I need to process, so I do need to isolate. But I let people know. And then number third, the third one, environmental triggers, um, deadlines, ooh. Those right there, I used to feel like if when I do stuff early, I don't do it good. I felt like I did my best work under pressure. And sometimes I still feel like that, but I don't need that type of pressure on myself. So it's important to me to get it done sooner. rather than later. And then the personal triggers, of course, just like y'all just said, you and Sonya, it's a struggle every day. Every day I wake up, Sean, my grandson, is on my mind. My daddy, because he would always be that biggest cheerleader, that support. And I miss him every day. I was listening to something and it came on the radio, and it's like I cannot deal with certain things because so many songs remind me of him, and I know his death date is coming up. Like Sonya said, his birth date is coming up. Christmas is coming up, and he loved holidays, and he used to always say, every day that I'm above ground is a great day. Well, he's not above ground anymore, so I always think to myself, my dad didn't want to be dead, but I just try to hold on to the memories and keep it moving. But every day, I don't know what day I'm not gonna cry, because if it just has to happen, I cry every day. And Sean, I just can't understand why this little boy is dead for no reason. And it's just a lot, but it's something that
And just thank God that he was able to give so much of himself to help other people.
well, and that's the thing that keeps. So Carlos, his birthday was yesterday. So that's very emotional. And I talked to Carlos, that's the child that has Sean's heart. And his mother told me, she said every day she's very grateful. She said, but she don't like to think about those dark days, but she still has her child. You don't have Sean anymore. So I understand what she is, but it's a hard thing. And I do feel excited that I get to be in his life. I feel happy that Sean has saved lives, and that's really a great thing. But it's still hard. If anybody had been through an honor walk or that kind of stuff, that's just like holy. And
Yes.
so, but I'm good. I'm positive. You know, I get my cry out, and I think that's the thing that keep me going. I gotta cry, and once I cry, or maybe whatever, and a lot of stuff triggers me, like a song, a place, a day. And I don't want to take up too much time, but yeah.
Oh no, we got time. You fine. You fine. And that is just wonderful to cry. I had to really accept that, because it doesn't really mean that you're sad. You need to cry. Like, people need to cry. Don't suck it up. No, cry. Let it out. Feel
Uh,
so much better. Thank
yeah,
you.
I used to be really like, I would not like if somebody's yelling or fussing or saying, like, I was the girl, because my mom said you're not supposed to cry in front of people.
In front of people. Yep.
That I actually am in that space where, like, I don't really care. I have to let my feelings out and I have to cry. And it's a new thing for me, but I need to do that because it makes me feel better. And I don't now feel like it's a sign of weakness. I feel like, it's a sign of me relieving myself, helping me feel better. And then as people see stuff, you help others as well, not even knowing that you're helping them. But crying is something that I just just an hour ago, I was crying because that song and it just keep my mind on, what's between Carlos's birthday being yesterday, and the song reminded me of my daddy. And I'm like, whoa. But I feel like happy and proud of myself how I'm moving through it. So
That's awesome. Since my mom's been gone since 2007, and those just recently, I think the last couple years of, like, what really shifted that for me was Kai's accident and almost losing him. And how it shifted me is, I just used to, it was more of a sad, oh my God, she's not here. Why? And then it transformed into, okay, what can I think about that is good? You know what I mean? That'll make a happy memory for me, and try to push those happy memories forward versus the painful memories of, or whatever the triggers are. You know what I mean? Try to change the trajectory of the trigger. Like, okay, say I hear a song. That. I love the bookstore. Her favorite author was Danielle Steele. Still to this day, I will not pick up a Danielle Steele book, but I have one in my Barnes and Noble cart. So one of these days, I'm going to click that button and I'm going to buy that book. So it's like, you have to try to switch how you're feeling, because those triggers can be, in the long run, they can be softened. They can be softened. I would like someone else to share. Who did we hear from? Miss D, you want to share, or no?
I guess one of mine would be the environmental triggers with the clutter. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my life organized. Um, it's just it's so busy with my son, and he's playing football, and me being a football mom, and being a supervisor at my job, have to delegate and trying to keep stuff detailed, and um trying to meet deadlines. I'm always feeling rushed. So I just have to learn how to get it all together. And then I have the family issues, and I need to learn how to say no. And that's one of my biggest things, trying to say, look, I have to stop giving and just stop everything.
You got to set them boundaries, Miss D. You got to set those boundaries.
So that's a lot of stuff that I
Set
do
those.
have to learn.
And on the clutter issue, I had a lot of issues with clutter also. And what helped me was I had to start watching. What actually really helped was watching Hoarders. Watching Hoarders. Put on a 4 or 5 episodes of Hoarders, and then I would just get up and just be like, oh my gosh, you really don't need this. Oh, you really don't need this. And slowly but surely, things are being taken care of. Making lists.
And it's
Actually,
basically
like,
like
okay, this is what.
when you do laundry and you know you need to go get the winter stuff out and put the summer stuff away, go through the stuff that's too small, get rid of it, donate it. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Then you start it, and then you like, I just can't.
I so understand, because I'm right there with you. And that's why personal growth, all of it in its entirety is a process. It's continuous. So I'm right there with you with that. I do not like laundry. We was meant to have maids and stuff. So to fold our clothes for us. Thank you so much for sharing. I do appreciate that. Nisi Poo, Darisha.
Hello. So I have a little bit of stuff going on in the background. I was trying to find my headphones. So
Okay.
so yeah, I have some family in the background, but I wanted to talk about self-awareness as far as my isolation. So to start off, when I started going to school, I pulled away from a lot of people. But since then, going through stuff and losing friends and stuff, my mindset shifted after some personal issues and a medical situation. I now make more attempts and look for events, whether online or in person, to socialize more. And so moving on from that one, environmental. So I have schizophrenia, and loud noises really bother me sometimes. So I use headphones and earplugs and breathing techniques until I can get somewhere more calmed down. So that's a little serious one. And then the next one, I wrote a little essay, I guess.
Come on. That's what we're here
so
for. Share that.
I've recently started a decluttering practice, and I'm put myself on a cleaning schedule. So that's going to help a lot. So the next one would be personal and health concerns, and I have about 2 more after that.
Okay.
So I got through not letting my illness or disability bother me by taking control of my life with time management and planning by using a planner. I swear I would not be organized without this thing. And that's what I'm using to write my notes. So, and then traumatic events. So I had a psychosis issue, which is a symptom of schizophrenia, a year ago, earlier this year, and a month ago. So I was diagnosed in 2017, and I haven't had an issue until this year since then. So what I had to do was get my cocktail of medications I need right with help from my doctors. and I used planning and being productive or creative as a coping mechanism to deal with grief and trauma of going through that. So that's another serious one. And then the last one would be financial. Your girl is on a budget. So I always look for budget tips and techniques and methods to do better, using like YouTube and Pinterest and little stuff. And I found out earlier this year that what I thought was budgeting wasn't budgeting at all. So right now I started with some beginner stuff and use what is it, the 50-30-20 method
I've
to
heard of that.
budget. Yeah. So you divide whatever your money is, your income is, into 50% wants, or no, 50% needs. So 50% needs, 30% wants, and or 30% needs, wants, and savings. So 50% needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings. So that's what I've been practicing.
Oh, I
And
like that.
that's my addition to the combo.
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Yes.
Get everybody? I think we got everybody. Miss Colette, are you available? I know you probably doing things. I do appreciate you being here. If not, we can move on. I do really appreciate that you guys sharing, and I hope it was very insightful because it was for me. And restoring your mental health starts with understanding the blueprint in the attic of your mind. And adaptability is your toolkit for renovation. All right, so let's go on to our next slide. All right. Now that we've laid the foundation with self-awareness and adaptability, now let's move on to inner work, which is like the interior design of your mental house. The key to this interior design is mindfulness. Mindfulness allows you to be present and aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's a crucial part of the inner work in the AIR method. When you're mindful, you can better understand what needs renovation and what needs to be cherished in your mental house. I want to prepare you guys. We're going to do a little mindfulness session with a little guided meditation. I am going to, we just talked about some heavy stuff, so I want to get us back centered. So I'm going to set my timer, and we're going to just take 5 minutes, just listen to the meditation that I have for you guys. It is going to be a talking meditation, so just listen and we'll just take it. Make sure you close your eyes, okay? So go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to dive deeper into this mindfulness guided meditation. So close your eyes and take a deep breath in, filling your lungs completely. Hold it in for a moment and then exhale slowly. Imagine each breath as a breath stroke, a brush stroke, adding color and texture to the interior of your mental house. As you breathe, visualize a room in your mental house. What does it look like? What colors do you see? Imagine filling this room with light and warmth with each breath you take. Let go of any tension you're holding. With each exhale, imagine sweeping away the dust and cobwebs, making room for clarity and peace. Now slowly open your eyes and come back to the room. Take a moment to feel the new energy you've just created within yourself. And excuse me for not having any music. I just really wanted that meditation to be just no sound. I learned how to do that first. I learned meditation without sound first, and I just figured that would help you guys a little more. Next time I'll try to throw in that music for you, but that should just have you feeling like calm. It helped my energy come back down, and we can move on. Thank you so much for that. That was awesome. I hope you feel so much better and more refreshed. Now, I had some tips for managing those triggers. Okay, so for where the self-awareness, recognize what triggers specifically harm you. Okay, so that's where journaling comes in, is whenever you feel a trigger, grab your journal and write it down. All right, and that's on there. That's one of the things you can do. Talk to your friends, family, or professionals. I heard somebody say that also. That's another thing you can do. Breathing techniques. That's one of the main technique, thing for managing triggers that helped me, because when Nation was younger, he had got addicted to the medicine. It's a long story, but he would have these seizures, and the more upset I got, the more he would go into the seizure. So I had to learn how to breathe and calm myself down so that I can keep his energy calm. And that works. Like, it really does. And to be present and don't react impulsively, which is something big. That is one of the things that that we all have to continuously learn, is just not to be so impulsive and quick to react, to think about responding over reacting. Like, when you respond, you take the time, you really ingest what the person's saying, and then you respond. You don't react and be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? That'll help. Okay, to do those breathing exercises. Right now, you guys, you should have gotten a link in your email for the Mindfulness Mosaic Bingo. If you did not, if Coach Remedy could actually post that link, hopefully you guys got that. If not, please go ahead and pull up your bingo card, and I will do the same. Please let me know if you do not have one and you need one, okay?
I don't have one. This is Drea.
Alrighty, ma'am.
I need one as well.
Okay. All right.
I'm posting it in 1 second.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. So I hope you guys like this little game. I found it.
I don't see it either.
You don't see it in your email, the one that I sent today?
Wait a minute, let me look. I'm looking.
I sent you guys an email today, and it should have had the bingo
Oh,
card.
okay, I see it.
Perfect. Go ahead and pull up your bingo card if you don't mind. And I will pull up mine so you can actually see it. Hopefully I don't got the same one. Please let me know. Well, everybody say ready in the chat if you're ready. And if you're not, please let me know so we can begin.
I still don't see it.
Okay, Miss Coach Remedy posted it into the chat.
Yeah, I see it. I was looking at my.
Yes, so go ahead and click that link that's in the chat and open up your bingo card.
Bingo?
Yes.
Perfect. I got 2 readies. 3. Perfect. Ooh, I'm excited about this game.
Hey, I have it open, but when I went to click continue, it didn't let me, it didn't do anything. I just have it open. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, should
I
it say
wanted everybody to-
zero players?
Yep, it should say that. You should see mindfulness bingo. You should see all the words on your card.
Okay.
You
Okay.
see that?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let me show you. Perfect. You are fine. We haven't started yet.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. I was just waiting for everybody to grab their card. I only see 4 people that have their card.
Mine is asking me for a credit card, like a card.
Did anybody else do that?
No.
Okay, I just did it again and it didn't ask that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm good.
Okay. Who else doesn't have one? Okay, I see Sonia, I see B, and I see Coach Remedy. Why nobody else is there?
And I see my name twice. Maybe I'm
Yeah, I see your
logged
name.
in on my phone and my computer. Okay,
I'm
let me try to figure this out. Okay.
So if you didn't see mine, I'm ready.
Okay, I will not start until I see everybody. Why do I not see?
Ready too, but even though you don't see me, I'm ready.
Okay, let me. Do you guys see the words? Do you see awareness? Do
I'm
you see
ready too.
all the
I
words
do.
on there? Okay, perfect. As long as you see the words, I really don't care if you're in the actual, because it's only showing me that there are 4 people playing, which is weird.
I only see myself as a player. I only see one player. Is that supposed to be like?
Hold on. Let me copy and paste this link that I have and put it in here. Now you guys click on this link and tell me if that works for you. Because this is the link that I'm in. Let me share my screen so you guys can see the link that I'm in.
I was in that. It still says 0 players for me.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so see how it only says 4 players for me, which is weird. It really doesn't, that doesn't even matter. So as long as everyone has a card, does everyone have a card?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. If everyone has a card, it does not even matter if you're not on here. So let's go. So how this goes is, okay, I am going to, let me make sure I got my instructions. Okay, so listen carefully. This is a listening game. So you're going to listen carefully to the words I say. When you have a horizontal, a vertical, or a diagonal line of marked words, okay, I want you to come off mute and call mosaic. That is our word, not bingo, it's mosaic. Okay, so y'all know how to play the game. You know you can have any set as long as it's a straight line. The first person to do this will share a mindfulness practice that has been effective for them. Okay, we're ready. So make sure you're listening for the words. And I'm praying that everybody got a different card. And here we go. All right. Ooh, that's a good one. Building resilience is like adding a security system to your mental house. It's about being prepared for life's ups and downs. How often do you engage in self-reflection? It's like a mirror for your mind, a way to see yourself clearly. How about acceptance? Sometimes it's about letting go and making peace with what is. It's like decluttering your mental house. Your perception shapes your reality. Remember, the glass can be half full. It's like choosing the lens through which you view your mental house. Let's talk about self-love. It's not selfish, it's necessary for mental well-being. Consider it the insulation that keeps your mental house warm. Being conscious of your actions can lead to a more fulfilling life. It's like choosing the right furniture for your mental house. Focusing, it's the lens through which you view your tasks and your life. It's like the windows through which you see the world from your mental house. Who loves reading? It's another form of mindfulness for some. Consider it the library in your mental house. Taking a deep breath can be a simple yet effective way to center yourself. It's like hitting the reset button on your mind.
I have bingo. I've been had it. I couldn't get off mute.
Oh my goodness, you're supposed to call Mosaic, girl.
Oh, mosaic. Sorry. Oh, mosaic.
Awesome. Okay, so can you go ahead and share with us a mindfulness practice that you've been using?
Just one. Okay. We just did meditation, so I won't say that. One of the mindfulness meditations that I love is grounding. I think that is such a great thing. And I know that every time I do it, it really gets me into a better space. And I have checked my blood pressure before I did it, sometimes a couple of times, and I checked it afterwards, and it's always been lower. So I love that practice.
Awesome. Anybody else have one that they'd like to share to just throw in there?
For me, it's breathing. Being in a place where and breathing, you can be anywhere to practice. Just breathing, you don't have to do anything fancy. Just being aware of your breath in your body can really bring you back to your parasympathetic, and so your sympathetic system is calmer. Yeah.
Being aware of your thoughts and feelings, the first step towards mindfulness. It's like turning a light on in a dark room. I love that. I love that. And anybody else would like to share? No?
I have my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not even I'm looking at the wrong thing. Go ahead,
Oh,
babe.
good.
Go ahead, and
So-
if you want to share, just unmute yourself.
Yes. So one practice is journeying for me. So it's a form of deeper subconscious meditation, but it just takes you to a different realm where you kind of are connected with your spirit guides and your ancestors and so forth. So that just brings about such peace and energy that is just bringing about clarity. The colors are there, so it takes me in a different realm, and I'm able to connect with gatekeepers. So that's a safe space for me that I journey to.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. Mindfulness practice, a new one that I have learned is the tapping. And I was doing that before I even knew that it was a thing. Like if I get to or sometimes I'll
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So tapping is mindfulness, because I guess I don't know how to explain it, but it brings me back to, it's like grounding.
It is grounding. It's another form. You're just tapping those points, your
Mm-hmm.
pressure points in your body,
Mm-hmm.
for it to be recentered, kind of like awakens you to say, hey, we're okay, we're safe. It's kind of like you reduce the fight, flight, freeze, fawn syndrome, and it helps to bring you back to. I used to do that with my clients, a practice of tapping. It really does work.
Mm-hmm. It sure does. It's saved a lot. Yep, tapping when you have anxiety. Also, I've learned that when you put your fingers in certain positions, like I just be doing random positions, not even knowing until I came by through a Facebook post that says if you do different hand movements, that can ground you also. And I was like, oh, I need to learn some more about that, because I've been doing it without even knowing that that's what I'm doing. And even pressure points in your fingers help you. Like, our bodies are amazing. We are amazing.
I was just gonna say about those pressure points in your fingers. They truly, truly work. And then it's stuff you can do tapping with your fingers, like Sat Ta Nama, and keep going back and forth with it as well as another grounding practice.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And congratulations to Renette. She pushed that button, but she got us kicked off into sharing mindfulness practices that she uses. Thank you for playing my mindfulness mosaic bingo game the first time I've played it. And I think I've found ways that I want to switch it up, but it was fun. And it reminds us to be present and mindful in our daily lives. So, mindfulness is a powerful tool for inner work. It helps you understand and design the interior of your mental house. Remember, the AIR method isn't just about adapting to the external world. It's also about understanding and nurturing your internal world. Let's go to the next slide, and I will share my screen so you all can see it. All right. We are getting into those emotional triggers and self-reflection. So, how I have this going is the third segment, and emotional triggers can be like unexpected storms, as we already discussed. These shake your mental house, but don't worry, we can prepare for them. So it's crucial to understand. It's crucial for self-awareness to understand your emotional triggers. It's like when the weak spots in your mental house are weak and you need to enforce them. So what I'll do is I'll present a few scenarios that could trigger emotional responses. And I want us to discuss how we would handle those responses, okay? Those triggers. Okay, so say you've just completed a project that you're proud of, but your supervisor criticizes you in front of your team. How would you handle that emotional trigger? Anyone can answer. I'll go first. I would say that I have been in that situation. Many, many years ago, I did decide to take up a job, and I decided to work as a hostess at Cracker Barrel. And not only did I get criticized in front of all my the coworkers that were there, I got criticized in front of the whole dining room. So if you've ever been in a Cracker Barrel, you know that they have the fireplace. And in the fireplace, they sometimes, if there are seats and you're waiting for a seat, the hostess will stand you in front of the fireplace. So in front of that fireplace, he was a training manager. He decided that, I guess he was having a really bad day, and he decided to take it out on me. I don't know why he decided me, but everyone knew me and know how hard I work. So it was crazy. He yelled so loud that everybody in the dining room turned around and looked at me. Now, there's so many ways that I could have reacted. I could have quit. I could have yelled at him. I could have cussed at him, but what I did was, because of all the inner work and all of the adapting that I had to do by taking care of Nation, and all the things that I had to deal with going to the doctors, I just calmly, I stood there and I listened to him because I kind of understood that he was going through something, and it was not really me that he was taking it out on, but he did take it out on me. So I let everything go, and I went back to, after I sat my people, I went back to, now he did this in front of the people I was seating too. It was crazy. So after I sat them, I went back to the podium and I was just standing there. And when I tell you, I'm the emotional type that when I get a little upset, I start to cry. So I was standing there and the tears were coming down, but I was still smiling and I was just wiping my face. Do you know I had people coming up from in the dining room and were just telling me, "Oh my gosh, you're such a sweet person. I don't know why he would do that. You need to just brush that off your shoulder, brush that off your shoulder." And it got to the point where I needed to say something, but I knew I didn't want to say it to him. So I went to the manager, and the manager made him come and just, he had to apologize because the criticism was crazy. It was crazy how he was, customer service is down, da da da. And I'm looking at him like, me, customer service down with me? I'm getting tips for sitting people. What are you talking about? So it was just crazy. And I had to handle that trigger of somebody being in my face and telling me about things that had nothing to do with me and him taking his frustrations out on me. It was crazy. Anybody else have an instance, or what would you do in that situation? If you don't have one, I'll go on to the next because I have a couple of them. I have a couple scenarios for us to discuss. So let me go on to the next one since I discussed that one. You're scrolling through social media and you see a friend's post about their amazing vacation, new job, or a happy relationship. You start to feel inadequate. Ooh, what would you do? This is a good one. Because we be scrolling. We be scrolling. If you feeling inadequate when somebody's posting their happiness, what trigger, what would you do to handle that trigger? What do you do to handle that trigger? Do you feel that way when you're scrolling and you're seeing people's goodies and all the good things that they're doing?
For me, it depends on where I'm at. It depends on where I'm at mentally, physically, and spiritually. I just get back off. I don't get on. And I that's a reminder for me to do some self-care, because it's not a bad thing, but it's how you respond that you need to take care of yourself. So I've learned that these signs that we get, they're not bad. They're an awareness for us to reposition ourselves. So that's what I've learned to do over life. Okay, why are you feeling that way? Because you wasn't feeling that way yesterday. You was happy, hurrah, hurrah with everyone. So what's going on today? What news did you feel? How did what's really going on in your personal life or professional life, etc., for you to respond to someone that way? Because that's not the norm, but it is for you to making an adjustment in your life. That's what I've learned to do.
Awesome. That is so, so true. Thank you for that. Just learn to adjust. It's always about that inner work. Do that inner work to see what is triggering you. What is actually triggering you?
That's right. Doing that work. I'm doing that work.
Yes. Okay, so the third one. Your family is pressuring you to make life choices that you're not comfortable with, like settling down or choosing a particular career path. How would you manage this trigger? I'm curious to see what, Darisha, do you have anything to say about that? Have you ever felt that pressure? You're the youngest in here. Or anybody else? What do you think? How would you manage that trigger? I've had that pressure. I don't know if I wouldn't say I've put that pressure on my child. I hope I haven't put it on any of them. But I figure I don't know. Because I've been pretty fortunate to be able to make my own choices and not be pressured to settle down or choose a particular life path either, or a career path. So I I guess I would just try to explain to family my take on it, my perception. It's always important to be authentic to yourself and voice your opinion. Communication, we got to have that effective communication. And if they're pressuring you to settle down or make choices you don't want to, I don't conform. That's a don't conform.
I'll say that I mean I don't what I'll say is that I was the person pressuring when my husband was trying to, well, he wasn't trying, he was actually doing okay as an entrepreneur and what he was doing. But at that time, I wasn't into entrepreneurship. And, you know, my mother kept saying, oh, that's just not going to work. That's dumb. That's stupid. And then so I started putting more pressure on him in a space and area of where he wanted to be. And it was so crazy that when I turned around and was like, I quit my job, I'm starting a business. And he was like, okay. And I didn't get the pressure. So very cognizant of that type of behavior now, you know, and all of that came from, like, you know, doing the inner work to be a better person and be more understanding. So that's one of the things I feel bad about many days, because he said when I did that, and I kept saying, you got to shut this down, it's not working, I ain't dealing with this, da, da, da. So that really killed his dreams, and he's not had any dreams of being an entrepreneur again since I did that. And that's not, you know, it's not good, but I know better and I do better now.
Right, that accountability for that, and knowing that that ain't the right way to be for somebody. So they got to make their own mistakes. That's what I'm learning with sending these kids off to California. Ooh, but thank you so much for sharing. All right, we have one more, well, two more. You're stuck in a traffic jam and you're running late for an important meeting. The stress is building up. How would you cope? I know that's happened to everybody. That has to happen to you. How would you cope if you're already running late, you're already in the traffic jam, and the stress is building up?
My lifeline is breathing.
Breathing.
It helps save my life. So that's my go-to.
Breathing.
That is my go-to. Breathing.
I've learned also that if you call people and tell them that you're running late, it takes some of it off too.
It does. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another option. You breathe and say, what can you do? You can't change it. Either you didn't leave the house early or whatever happened.
You're in a traffic jam, call and let people know what is happening. Yep, it's as easy as that. All right.
That's a good one. I was just thinking communication as well, because even if you leave in time, you know, like you say, traffic is horrible, accidents happen all the time, so it's not an intentional tardy, and there's really nothing you can do. So
that's how I handle almost every situation, even with the credit cards or whatever. Call.
Yeah.
That happened to me yesterday while I was in a situation and I needed to be somewhere at 8 o'clock. I woke up and I don't know what, I got confused, but I looked at my clock. I thought it was 6:30, but it was 7:30. The meeting started at 8, and I was like, oh my God. I got out of the house by 10 till 8, but I walked out with my heels. And, you know, with my knee, I knew I needed some flat shoes. So I had to turn around. And the thing of calling, I thought about it. But, you know, when people are doing events and being that I do events, I was like, Lord, this man not gonna want to hear from me. So I was like, you know what? Everything works out for good. Everything works out for my good. And I started breathing and I just kept saying that. And I was like, it's gonna be all right. And it was definitely all right. It was better than good. And it was amazing.
Something probably came up and that didn't even matter that you was late either.
It did, because a whole bunch of other people were late too.
See, look at God. You know. Okay, so the last one, you've been working hard on a personal goal, but you're not seeing the results you expected. This starts to frustrate you. How would you handle this situation? That's a good one. That's a good one. I would say find somebody to bounce the ideas off of. or to tell somebody else your personal goal and see what tips or information they can give you. They might give you a step that you didn't think of that can help you to complete your goal. So that's what I would say. I would handle that situation by just getting advice from somebody else and being like, okay, I've done it plenty of times. Like, this is what I think. What do you think? How can I? And they'll be like, oh, well, if you take this step, it'll help you easier to get to your goal. And bam, I'm to my goal. So that is that one. And I love it. So we're closing that segment. Great job, everybody. Recognizing and understanding your emotional triggers is the first step in mastering your emotional responses. And let me tell you, it's not going to be an easy one all and done thing. All right. Now, last one. Just wanted to remind you guys to keep a trigger journal, okay? That's one of my reminders. Keep a trigger journal, and every time you find yourself reacting strongly to a situation, jot it down. Over time, you'll see patterns and you can work on healthier responses because you'll start to notice it more. And it'll be like, oh, okay, I'm handling like a G. Right, so we're in our final segment. It's been an incredible journey exploring the various rooms of our mental house, each representing a crucial aspect of the AIR method. Now let's bring it all together and see how the elements fit back into this holistic approach. I worked so hard on this right here. So I want you guys to think of the AIR method as your ultimate guide for renovating and maintaining your mental house. We begin by laying the foundation with self-awareness, the bedrock upon which your entire mental house rests. From there, we moved into the living room and kitchen for adapt, where we nourished our minds and learned to let go of what doesn't serve us. Then we ventured into the bedroom and home office for the inner work, focusing on emotional well-being and productivity. In the garage, we found a toolkit for repeat. This is where we store essential tools like mindfulness techniques and coping mechanisms. It's also where we keep our repair kit for fixing minor issues before they escalate. Now let's take a moment to delve deeper into emotional intelligence. This is more than just a buzzword. It's the emotional and social skill set that enriches your mental house. Emotional intelligence is like the intricate wiring and plumbing that runs behind the walls, often unseen, but absolutely essential. It includes your ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. It's what allows you to manage stress, resolve conflicts, and build stronger relationships. Imagine emotional intelligence as the advanced home automation system for your mental house. With it, you can control the lighting to set the mood, adjust the temperature for comfort, and even secure all doors and windows. It's the system that lets you live in your mental house, not just efficiently, but harmoniously. By enhancing your emotional intelligence, you're not just making cosmetic changes, you're upgrading the very infrastructure that makes your mental house a home. You're not just painting walls, you're installing a system that understands when to dim the lights or play your favorite song based on your mood. I want to thank you guys for your participation, being active with me. And as we wrap up, remember that building and maintaining your mental house is an ongoing process. Emotional intelligence is a key component of that, and I encourage each of you to invest in developing it further. Let's continue this journey of self-improvement together. Awesome, awesome. I want to extend an invitation to each of you. Okay, if you found value in today's workshop and want to dive deeper into building your mental house, consider scheduling a one-on-one AIR method program consultation with me. It's a great opportunity to personalize these tools and strategies to your unique needs. Now,